Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to ManFlow Yoga. This workout you're about to see is a beginner-friendly, hip flexibility-focused yoga workout. So we're going to be working on your hip flexibility. You're going to be learning a lot of essential yoga poses, a lot of lunge-like exercises, but you're also going to be working on your endurance as you hold these exercises, work deeper into them, and get your body used to doing those poses. So again, this is a beginner-friendly workout. You don't have to be flexible to do this, and as you work on flexibility, you're also going to work on your strength and endurance for yoga classes. So check this out and let me know what you think. Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to ManFlow Yoga. This is a beginner's flexibility workout. So we're going to work on your full body. We're going to work on flexibility primarily. You're also going to get a nice overall workout, working into a little bit of strength, mobility, and just a nice rounded workout, but focus particularly on flexibility. You're going to need 2 blocks and a strap for this workout. That's just going to help with the modifications to make sure that you're doing the exercise properly, especially if you're new to this and you're not as flexible as a yoga instructor yet. All right, let's get going. We're going to start off in a tabletop position with your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Go ahead and pull your shoulders down toward your hips. Press the top of your head away from your shoulders. Tighten your belly button. So tightening your core, pulling your belly button up to your lower back. And then as you inhale, moving into cat-cow, inhale to arch your back. Have your chest kind of look forward, lift your butt up, arch your back, squeeze your thighs toward one another. And then as you exhale, press your hands into the ground, reach your tailbone toward the floor, tuck your chin, look behind you, and press your mid back up toward the ceiling. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. We'll just keep this up. Do about 5 more of these, kind of on your own pace, just getting some mobility to your spine, stretching out your shoulders, your chest, your back. And you should be feeling stretching through, again, your shoulders. You should be feeling stretching through your chest. You should be feeling stretching through your back. Try to avoid bringing your shoulders near your ears, so we don't want to compress your cervical spine or compress your neck at all here. And especially as you arch, think about pushing the top of your head away from your shoulders and trying to puff out your chest. And it really helps to squeeze your thighs lightly toward one another. That's going to help you engage your hip muscles, and that helps to engage your core, and that protects your back. All right, one more. Inhale, arch. And if you don't move as slow as I do, that's fine. You can move at your own pace, but try to move slowly as you're doing these. All right, then from here, stretch your forearms. Turn your fingers to face you, palms down. And then you can start kind of leaning slightly forward. If it's okay for your wrist, you can lean back a little bit more. So we're going to feel this stretch on the inner forearms. And from here, you can kind of move a little bit if you want. So I'm just kind of turning from side to side, kind of changing up the stretch for my forearms. If it's really tight and you don't want to move at all, that's fine. Just remember to keep your face, keep your shoulders relaxed, and breathe deeply in and out of your nose. One more breath here, stretching out your wrist. Okay, and then flip your hands over so your fingers are facing one another, palms are facing up. Move your hips back toward your heels so the weight is more in your hips. And then you can lightly press your hands into the floor with palms facing up. If you're new to this, I recommend keeping your hips further back because this can be kind of weird for your wrists if you haven't done this stretch before. If you do feel comfortable doing this, then you can lean your shoulders further over your hands. But make sure that you don't have any pain in your wrists. And a couple breaths here as well. Move your head from side to side if you'd like in this position. All right, and then from here I'm going to have you walk your arms out in front of you. Bring your knees wide, big toes touch, and as much as you can, allow your hips to come back toward your heels. You might feel some tightness through your knees here. If you do have any pain, just don't bring your hips that far back. And then walk your arms out in front of you. Spread your fingers nice and wide, arms about shoulder width distant, and relax your forehead on the ground into child's pose. So stretching your shoulders here, probably getting a stretch through your hips as well. If you want, modification here is if you feel like your back is really high off the ground and you're rounding your back a lot, you can put your hands on top of blocks like this, and this is going to help you get maybe a better shoulder stretch and also help you keep your back flat. You shouldn't feel any rounding in your back here, so if you are, think about what you would do for a plank. And so we want to have that tightness through your abs. Try to have a straight line through your back. Give this a couple more breaths. It helps to think pulling your hips away from your shoulders, kind of making as long a line as you can from your hands to your hips. All right, and then from here we're going to move up into a supported low lunge. So I'm going to have you step your right leg up between the blocks. Keep your left toes tucked. If you have pain in your knee here, make sure that you're putting more weight into your right leg. So a lot of people kind of dump their weight into their left knee here. Make sure you're pushing down through your right foot and keeping that weight in your hips, right? So squeezing your right hip, pushing down through your right foot, and then also trying to squeeze your left glute. If you don't have that awareness yet in your body to squeeze your glutes, that's okay. We'll work on that. That will come with time. Big breath in. Try to get taller. As you exhale, allow your hips to come forward slightly. So kind of working deeper into the stretch in the front of your left hip. This is for your hip flexors. Really important if you sit at all during the day. It's also going to be very good for your squat depth and helping you build strength in your hips. And notice that every exhale, I'm going a little bit deeper into this. One more breath. Okay, from here moving into a half split. So I want you to bring your blocks back, kind of so they're level with your left knee, and then shift your hips back. Maybe walk your right foot forward a little bit. Bend your right knee. Reach your toes back toward your face. Lightly press your right hip toward the ground and stretch the entire back of your right leg. So stretching your hamstrings here, stretching your calves, and using the blocks to help yourself stay upright. So the last thing I want to do in a half split like this is round my back and try to bring my head to the knee, right? So that's going to round my back. I want to avoid the C-shaped spine with my back. So instead, we're using the blocks to pull our chest forward and up, and that way we can keep our back flat, and that's going to help us focus on stretching your hamstrings and getting that stretch there. A couple more breaths here. Don't forget to reach your toes back toward the shin. Lightly press the back of your right thigh toward the ground. All right, and then you're going to release back to that tabletop position we started in. And we'll switch sides. Step your left foot up between the blocks, coming into a supported low lunge, using your hands on the blocks to help yourself get set, squaring your hips. Just a little bit of support to help you get the proper technique. Back toes are tucked to help keep your leg active. And then knee can be over the ankle in the front foot, or it can be a little bit past the ankle too. That's fine. You just want to make sure that you're not coming way forward over the toes and lifting your heel off the ground in this lunge. Deep breath in. See if you can get longer through your spine, get taller. And as you exhale, sink forward into this. Deep breath in, get tall. Think lifting your ribs away from your hips. And then exhale, allow your hips to relax. If you can, again, squeeze your right glute, squeeze that muscle. If you don't have the awareness there, one way to build awareness in your body is simply tapping on the muscle. So just giving yourself a little tap in whatever muscle you're trying to work, and then trying to build awareness there. One more breath here. And then shifting back to that half split. So bring your blocks back so they're kind of level with your right knee. Shift your hips back. Maybe walk that left foot forward a little bit, kind of caterpillar it forward, or however you want to move it forward. And then flex your toes back toward your shin. Bend your left knee a lot here. So depending on your flexibility, you might not have to straighten your leg that much at all to get the desired stretch. Your goal here is to get the stretch and feel it in the right areas. It's not just to copy what I'm doing. So go ahead and bend the knee, flex your toes back, pull your chest forward and up. Try to get that back as flat as you can. And if you notice that your back is rounding, bend your knee a little bit more. Deep breaths. And as you exhale, you're trying to tell your body to relax. Staying tall as you inhale, keeping your posture as you exhale, working deeper, allowing your muscles to relax. One more breath here. Okay, and then from here we're going to move onto your back, onto your butt. Bring your legs over bring your knees toward your shoulders. Just kind of hug them in tight. Tighten your abs, roll from side to side here. We're going to move into a reclined twist. So bring your legs over to the right. Drop your knees over to the right. Keep your chest facing up as much as possible. Bring your right hand to your left knee. Now, with your hips, I want you to try and face your hips directly to the outside. So you're lightly engaging your hips, kind of maybe squeezing your knees toward one another a little bit, and seeing if you can build some awareness through your core and your hips. So trying to engage that abdominal area. And then with your chest, I want you to try and get your left shoulder to the ground. So squeeze the back of your left shoulder toward the ground. Look straight up, and then look over toward the left. Deep breaths here. Inhale to get longer. Top of the head away from the hips, or kind of lengthening away from the hips. Exhaling to release and twist a little deeper. 2 more breaths. And you should feel a big stretch through your left hip here, the outer left hip, and you should also feel some opening up through your mid and your lower back. If you can, push the back of the left shoulder to the ground, and you'll also feel a stretch through your left pectoral muscle. All right, back to the middle. Inhale. Exhale, bring your legs over toward the left now. So again, hips face to the outside. Trying to build some awareness through your hips and your core, so not being entirely passive here. And then reach your right arm out to the right, squeeze the back of your right shoulder toward the ground. And as you inhale, we're trying to make our body longer, trying to make the spine longer. As you exhale, twisting a little bit deeper into this. So again, trying to keep my hips and my core active, pressing my right shoulder, the back of my right shoulder into the ground. And also trying to get the chest to face up. As you exhale, working your way deeper into this twist. And again, we're feeling this in the outer right hip and also through the low and the mid back. This is essential for anyone who sits during the day. The low back gets tight, and this twist helps to create space between your lower vertebrae. All right, back to the middle, and we're going to do a figure 4 stretch here. So this is for your piriformis, this is for your glutes, really essential for anyone who sits. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Bring your left thigh in toward your chest. It's not going to come all the way in. Externally rotate your right thigh so your inner thigh faces you,
and then grab the back of your left thigh here. If it's possible, you can relax your head onto the ground. If you find that difficult, you can use a block, place that behind your head, and that way you can relax into this. Make sure that you're flexing your right toes back toward your shin, and you're not just pressing your knee out. You're focusing on external rotation with your hips, so you're actively turning the hip out. And as you exhale, we're trying to work a little bit deeper into the stretch. Not forcing it open, but using the exhale to relax it further open. Try to keep your face relaxed, keep your shoulders relaxed. One more breath. All right, and then release. We're going to switch sides, cross your left ankle over your right knee now. Grab the back of your right thigh. If you have that block behind your head and you want to use it, go for it. If that's just getting in the way and you'd rather relax your head on the ground, you can do that as well. Again, the inner left thigh is going to face your body, and your knee is going to point to the outside. Flex your left toes in toward your shin. That helps to protect your knee. So if you have any sort of knee issues, maybe some past MCL strains or ACL reconstructions, then always be careful with your knees. But in this particular position, definitely want to be careful. So we're feeling this stretch in the outer left hip. This is really important because it helps to relieve pressure in the low back. Your glutes attach to your low back. When those muscles get tight, they pull on your lower back, and that can cause discomfort or pain. This is also really good for if you have any sort of sciatica or any sort of sciatic-related pain. This stretch helps to stretch the muscle that gets tight and places pressure on or kind of irritates the sciatic nerve. So this helps to alleviate sciatic symptoms. All right, and go ahead and release. And from here, I'm going to have you sit up, and we're going to move into a into a butterfly position. So press your feet together. You can grab the outsides of your feet if you want, or if you want to grab the ankles, that works too. And then I want you to actively press your knees toward the ground. So squeeze your knees toward the ground while sitting as upright as possible. What I don't want you to do, go ahead and look at me for a second. I don't want you to do this with your back. So don't let your lower back round like this. Don't let your chin come in toward your chest. I want you to sit up as tall as you can here. And this does take strength. So you are going to be working your hips and your core here while opening up your groin. Take a couple more breaths. See if you can lift your chest a little bit higher. One more breath. Okay, and then go ahead and release. And from here, we're going to move up to a standing position and take your blocks to the top of the mat. We're going to do a lunge here. So blocks on either side at the top of your mat. Step your right foot up between the blocks. Big step back with your left foot, taking it into a runner's lunge. So this is a little more active version of the lunge we did before. I'm going to have you squeeze your legs toward one another, really push down through your right foot, and see if you can squeeze your left thigh. Lift the knee, squeeze your thigh, squeeze both glutes, pull your chest forward and up. A couple breaths here. This does challenge your endurance, so if you get tired, that's okay. That's normal. All right, then moving into a twist. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Go ahead and have your chest face to the outside, so roll back your right shoulder. Get your torso to face over toward the right. Hold that for a breath. And then if you can, go ahead and reach your right arm up. Keep your hips the same. Don't let your hips poke out to the right. Don't let your hips come unsquared. Keep them exactly the same. One breath here. All right, and then release your hand back to the block. Go ahead and step up into a standing position. Bring your toes together. Reach your arms overhead. Bringing the palms together. Interlacing your fingers. reaching up. If you find that your shoulders are crowding your ears, go ahead and bend the knees, or sorry, bend your arms so you can kind of relax the shoulders. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, lean toward your right, press your hips toward the left. Inhale, get tall, push down through your feet, squeeze your butt, squeeze your core. As you exhale, bend a little bit more to your right, hips press toward the left. 2 more breaths. Squeeze your arms back as far as you can here. Part of flexibility is building strength. So as you work on flexibility in your chest and shoulders, you're building strength through your upper back. All right, and then bring it back to the middle. Release your arms down. And runner's lunge, other side. So now taking a big step back with your right foot. Knee is over the ankle on the left foot. Squeezing your legs toward one another. So left heel squeezes back, right foot squeezes forward. Chest pulls up. And I want to make sure that I'm lifting my back knee here. So squeeze your right thigh. If you notice that you're not really feeling a stretch, you might want to get your stance a little bit deeper. So maybe your feet are too close together. And if it's too much for you here, maybe you bring the feet a little bit closer. Generally, you want to have the knee right above the ankle, but it can be a little bit further forward and just a little bit further back, and that's just fine. And then from here, moving to that twist, bring your left hand to your left hip, turn your shoulder back so that your chest faces to the left. Continue to push down through your feet and squeeze your legs toward one another. Make sure that you're not letting your hips poke out to the left or bringing your left big toe off the ground or doing anything funky with your left hip. And then as you exhale, twist deeper back. As you inhale, lift your left arm up. Exhale, twist a little bit more. Hold for 1 breath. And then release your left hand down. Back to that block. Step all the way up to standing. Bring your toes together, heels an inch apart. Bring your arms overhead. If you'd like, you can also bend your elbows again. Push your palms together. Squeeze your arms back. Breathe in, get tall. And as you exhale, lean toward your left. Press your hips toward the right. Inhale to get taller. Pushing the top of your head away from your hips, pushing down through your feet, squeezing your thighs, and then exhale to lean deeper into the stretch. You're basically making a banana with your body here. That's the goal. You'll feel a stretch all the way from your right hip up to your right side to the right shoulder, and you should also feel your upper back working, the muscles in your upper back working as you squeeze your arms back. Thighs are working, core is working as well. So your abs, your hips, your thighs, that's all working here. 1 more breath. All right, and then back to the middle. Go ahead and release your hands down. From here, we're going to move into a squat. So I want you to bring your feet about shoulder width apart. Turn your toes just slightly out. Try and squeeze your butt here. And then keeping your chest upright, bring your hips down. Sit into this squat as much as you can without your heels lifting the ground. So if you start coming down and you notice your heels come off the ground, you're not going to go any further. I also want you to bring your butt back. Okay, make sure that you're not leaning forward into this squat. So you're trying to get your butt toward your heels, kind of bringing the hamstrings toward your calves. Now from here, bring your elbows inside your knees. Push your elbows into your knees and drive your knees back into your elbows. Open up your hips. You should feel stretching through your groin here as we hold. Now, this is a lot of flexibility here. If you are closer to this with your hips still not below the knees yet, that's okay. Our goal here is to feel a stretch through your inner thighs while keeping your back flat. So make sure that you're not hunched forward. If you are forward at all, that's fine. Just make sure that you're not putting all the weight in your toes. Keep the weight evenly distributed through your feet and try to lean back a little bit more. Use your elbows to open up your thighs, so driving your elbows into your knees. 1 more breath here. All right, and then slowly, without leaning forward, squeeze your butt, lean back, and stand all the way up. Okay, Nicely done. From here, we've got one more stretch. We're going to do a warrior one. Right leg forward, left leg back, pointed out 45 degrees. Square your hips forward as much as possible. Squeeze your legs toward one another and bend your front knee. So back hip presses toward the front knee, right leg squeezes back, left foot squeezes forward. Big stretch through your groin, and then bring your arms into goalpost arms. So arms are squeezing back, legs are squeezing toward one another, abs are tight, and you want to make sure that your hips are right between your feet. Sometimes there's a tendency for the hips to poke out to the left. Make sure that they're squared forward and they're between both feet, centered. If you're not feeling a stretch here, make sure that your hips are under your shoulders. And if you're still not feeling a stretch, maybe bring your feet a little bit further apart. On the other end, you can bring your feet a little bit closer together if you feel like you don't have muscular control here. Last breath. Okay, release. Switch sides, left foot up, right leg back. Again, back foot points out 45 degrees. Squeeze your left foot back, pull the right foot forward. Hips are under the shoulders. So you don't want to lead with the shoulders here. You don't want your butt poking out behind you. You want your butt muscles clenched, and they should be under your torso. Bring the arms to goalpost arms. Breathe in and out of the nose. Two more breaths. Keep it up. Legs still squeeze toward one another. Hips are angled forward as much as possible. And again, you can adjust your stance as needed. If you feel like you're not getting a stretch, make sure your butt is under your torso. Make sure you're squeezing your legs toward one another. And if you're feeling too much of a stretch, bring your feet a little bit closer together. Okay, and then release. Maybe we're going to take it into a wide stance. This is going to be our last standing pose. Push into the outer edges of your feet. Squeeze your thighs toward one another. Keep your chest upright. Go ahead and grab a block, actually. Put that in front of you. Deep breath in. As you exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Hinge at your hips so the butt pulls back. You want to keep your back flat here. Bring your hands to the block. And go ahead and look at me for a second. Make sure that you're not doing this with your back. We don't want the lower back poking up above the hips. So bend your knees. Try to flatten your back and use the block. It's there for a reason. It's to help. It helps you get the stretch the right way, and also helps you avoid hurting your back and helps to strengthen your core. So it makes the stretch better. It's not something that you should look at as a crutch. It's something that's a tool to make sure that you're doing the exercise in a way that best benefits you. As you're here, make sure you're pushing into the outer edges of your feet and hugging your inner thighs toward one another. And then with your chest, I want you to imagine that you're doing a plank. So abs are tight, your torso is long, the front of your torso is long, and the back is flat. Two more breaths here. All right. Go ahead and bring your feet together, drop your butt down, and stand up all the way. Okay, we're going to go ahead and end it there. So that was our beginner workout for flexibility. Started off pretty gentle, working into spine, working on hips, working on shoulders, and then from there we built up into some full body movements like the lunges, the squats, and the side bending. So hope you enjoyed that workout. If this is your, if you're watching this from the members area, if this is your first time watching this workout, or even if it's not, I'd love for you to leave a comment, inspire someone else to do this workout. So when people see comments in the members area, it shows that this is not just an online resource, this is a community. So leave a comment, let someone know what you thought about this workout. If you have any suggestions, some feedback, if you want to talk about something you learned today, all of that is helpful. Just leave a comment and let people know that you're here. Thank you for being part of the Manful Yoga community. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the workouts, and have a good one.